Hello bookish friends, this is Jody and welcome back to my channel. I'm really glad that you're here. Today I'm going to finish setting up my journal as well as talk to you about the functional spreads that I use to keep track of my books. Okay, we're going to start off with my annual stats tracker. This is right at the beginning of the book and is a place where I can keep the monthly stats in one big chart so I can see the whole year at a glance. I've not done one of these before, so I was experimenting, but you're going to see I was on the struggle bus with this particular spread. Just a number of things kind of were going wrong or weren't quite jiving. I just struggled with this one. I'm okay with how it turned out in the end, and obviously I'm going to use it, and I'm sure it'll grow on me, but this was a rough one. I just struggled. I wasn't very inspired, and you're going to see. I'll be back in a minute to tell you a little bit more about what's actually in the spread as I build that part out. So across the top here, I have the total books, so grand total for everything, and the total of pages associated with those books. And then I have the number of physical books that I've read and the pages associated with those physical books, the number of audiobooks, and the hours listened. Then I have 3 boxes for ratings. So I just have 3 to 3.5, 3.75 to 4.25, and then 4.5 to 5. I do my ratings in quarter increments, so those work. To me, that's the books I enjoyed the most. I don't feel like I need to track anything that I rated below a 2, not in here anyway. And then I have a column for DNFs, and then another column for the books I've received, whether gifted or have purchased myself. And then just a tracker to see, I'm a little curious on my genres, because I find that I say I'm a big romance reader, but romance actually rarely ends up being the category or the genre that I read the most of. So I think it'll be interesting to put month over month what genre I'm reading. And I just have broad categories here. So I have contemporary fiction, romance, thriller, sci-fi, fantasy, classics, and then just a category for other. Okay, so here's where I really started to struggle with this spread. So I didn't like the top. I wasn't sure about the colors, so I pared that down, and then I also toned down that bright orange. And even though I really like that orange color, the rest of the journal is actually much more muted tones, so I just wanted to bring those down a bit. And then I added this black strip on the bottom and the top just to also kind of give it a little more weight. Okay, so this is my setup spread for January. I am going to come back and talk a lot more about this spread towards the end. There's one more set of spreads that I'm going to show you the setup for first, and then I'm going to come back and tell you all about this spread. So stay tuned. Okay, so this is the last spread that I have to set up for this reading journal. This is really exciting. This is actually kind of an ironic spread now that I think about it. So what I'm doing here on the left is I'm going to put a list for DNF tracking. And then on the right there, I am going to include a picture of my current bookshelves as of Christmas, basically, of 2025. And then I intend to put another one in there at the end of 2026. So I can see how the bookshelves have changed and evolved and so on. And I think that's kind of fun. But I do get the irony of putting the DNF page next to these are my cherished books page, but you know, it's fine. So these, I decided to just do it really cohesively since they're next to each other. Here you'll see that I took a picture of my bookshelves a couple days ago with my cute little Christmas tree in there, and I'm just gonna put that in and then build out the DNF tracker. I do DNF quite a lot. I know some people don't. I am not one of those people. So I actually am not even sure that the amount of space that I put in here is enough space. So, you know, we'll just leave it at that and let you watch the rest of the setup. And just a quick reminder that after this spread, I'm going to take you through how I use the January setup, including some very, very functional usage that I have not seen in another journal before. So stick around so you can see that. So I wanted to take you through how I'm actually using this spread. This side here is largely decorative and memory keeping oriented, and then this side is highly functional, and I would say is kind of the heart of this book, if I'm honest. So this side is just where I'll be tracking either during the month or at the end of the month. I'll go through and I'll be, doing a bar across just to indicate the time frame in which I was actively engaging with each book. I do have 2 colors for audio here. That is just because I consume so many audiobooks that I wanted to have a little more variety to the colors. It also helps in case those are kind of up next to each other in this calendar. It just gives a little more differentiation. And then of course book for physical book and then ebook. I actually don't consume a lot of ebooks. I think that the format is incredibly convenient. I don't particularly enjoy the reading experience, which is a bummer. I really wish I did because it is infinitely more convenient. But I struggle. I'll do 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 a year, if that many. So anyway, that's that. Because this is a larger journal than I've used before, I don't know what I'm going to put here, but I am leaving it empty as a space of possibilities for what I want to put in there later. So it may be stats, maybe books. It might just be that we just enjoy this space and the loveliness of it being blank. Okay, so let's talk about this functional spread, because I would say that this is the heart and soul of how I track my reading and my listening, and it also is the spread that makes the rest of the book possible for me. So I know I'm really setting it up here. So let me take you through how I use this. So first of all, I want to point out that I have in my hand a friction pen. That's because this page is entirely done in friction. At least the functional part of it is done in a friction pen so that I can erase and change things and move things around and all of that good stuff. So let's first note that. So I had in the past been doing this in my planner. So I'll show you a page from my planner from the 4th quarter of 2025. So this is November. So this is what it looks like kind of filled out. You'll see that there is a lot kind of going on here, and I've actually added more things. I had all this additional space, so I'm like, oh, I'm gonna add a few things now that I have more room. But I decided to move it into my book journal just so that, because this is so functional for me and it ties directly to everything else I'm doing in the book, I wanted to try doing it in my book journal. So, let's see. But here's how this works. So these 2 columns are just where I'm going to track the number incrementally of each book as I complete it. So it'll be for the month where I'm at, for the year. Obviously for January, those 2 numbers will be the same, but beyond that, they will be different. So it's just a fun way to track which number book I'm on. I'll come back to this column in just a minute. This is where I write down the title of the book that I'm planning to read. Now, this is not an obligation. This is just, here are ones for whatever reason are kind of at the top of the stack, or that I have some particular deadline or reason that I want to read them, so or listen to them. So this is that list. I don't feel obligated to anything in this list, though I will end up getting through most of them. At the top, I put any book that I'm physically reading, so physical books or ebooks, so things I'm reading with my eyes. And then I just leave a couple spaces, and then I will start listing out audiobooks. I get almost all of them on Libby, a few I'll get on Audible, a few other ways, but maybe through advanced reader copies or whatnot, but for the most part, these are on Libby. So as books come up and are available and I go ahead and check them out, I'll just put them down on the list. Over in this column, you'll see I do have a due date column. So if for whatever reason there's a due date associated, in this case, these are all the day on which the library is going to take the book back from me if I don't return it early, which is what I almost always do. But this is just so I stay aware of when my Libby checkout will expire. Up here, there may be some other due date associated with it. So I'm in a traveling book group, so I may note the day I'm expected to kind of pass that book on to the next person, or this book is for my book club, so obviously I want to have the book read before the book club meeting. And then this isn't Wuthering Heights on here. The movie's coming out soon. I have a friend that is going to be reading it, and potentially another small group of neighborhood ladies who are going to be reading it. So it's on my list here, but there isn't a particular due date, but there are just kind of a few people in my community, and we're all kind of looking at reading it in January. So that's why it's on here, but no due date. I own the book, so no actual due date at this time. Over here, I'll just put the pages, and if it's an audio, I'll have pages and the time for the book, and that's just for reference. And sometimes, you know, I'm in the mood for something quick, or I'm ready to kind of dig into something meaty, and so the length that may influence whether I read it next or not. It also may have some impact on a challenge, like there may be a challenge that's looking for a particular range of pages or whatnot, so it's just a reference for me. In this column where it says dates, that's just the dates I read it. I'll put the start date and the end date in there. A star rating is as I finish the book and come in here to update this, I'll just quickly write down what my star rating is. Again, another just reference inside the same book. Then this column is for the narrator. One of the things I would like to figure out this year is how I can do a better job at, first of all, acknowledging really exceptional narrators, but also just tracking, because there may be narrators. For me, this is true. There are some narrators, or indeed, if there are full productions, like very well produced books, audiobooks, that I think not only gave me the experience of a great book, but I think enhanced the book even more. It was already a good book, and I feel like the production quality and or just the narrator themselves made the book even better because of what they added to it. And I would like to start being able to track that. But also, there are some narrators that just aren't for me, and it would probably save me a little bit of time and effort if I just didn't try with those particular books and just decide to physically read those books instead. Okay, so that's the narrator column. This is where I'm just tracking some stuff for challenge. Now we're gonna get super nerdy here. The rest of these columns are pretty nerdy, so you know, buckle up. Here's how these work. So these are some columns for some active challenges, and these are challenges, I give them their own column when I can complete more than one prompt in a given month. So some of the challenges I'm doing there's only one book that I need to read for the whole month. There could be multiple prompts, but I just need to accomplish one book and then I'm good. So I'll just write which challenge it is over here that I'm doing. I don't need to make a whole column for that. But other challenges I can, and in some cases need to read or listen to multiple books in that challenge in order to stay on pace for those annual or monthly challenges. So that's what these columns are for. And so as I come to realize that these books will meet certain prompts, I make this one little sideways slash that you're seeing here. So to give you an example, and I get pretty messy here. So one of the books that I'll be listening to soon, it's up next, is Sunrise on the Reaping. It happens to meet this prompt for this challenge. I've written it in pencil here, very messy, because it's going to have a book cover over it once I'm done reading. But I know that I have decided that there is a prompt for that challenge that I can read, so I'll put a little slash here. And as you can see, there are some books that they will meet multiple challenges prompts, and so I have multiple slashes. I will only, if I'm not going to use it, I know for sure it's not going to meet a prompt, I will actually put this like this little slash that you'll see here, so I don't look again. Like, I haven't ruled out in these challenges that these books might have a prompt, but there just wasn't anything obvious, or I haven't looked. So as I finish a book and I go through and I jump back out here, I take my sticker that I make of the cover for the book and I stick it on there, then that's kind of complete in my mind. So when I've done that and updated it, I will make this into an X. Then I know not only did I read that for that challenge, but I've also then taken care of it in on the challenge page and put the cover that I wanted to have there. So that's how I track this. Now, the benefit of doing this for me is that I can, at the time I complete a book, add very little additional dates, right? I might mark it complete, I will put the finish date, the star rating, maybe a comment or a star rating for the narrator. Then I don't need to do anything else. I know at any given time where I am with updating the journal. So for me, while this seems nerdy and maybe a little hardcore, it's just making a couple of quick notes, and then if I don't touch any other part of this book for, let's say, 2, 3, 4 weeks, I still know exactly where I am with updating that information in here. I know, let's say I've read all of these, I've completed all of these, I know that I have a bunch of challenges that I can make updates on, and I can put my book covers on. I know exactly where I'm at, and to me, that just makes the whole experience much more enjoyable. It helps me know where I'm at and know what needs to be updated, so I can just enjoy the experience of it, rather than, if I get too far behind, feel discouraged because I don't know where I left off. So that's the benefit of this for me. These last 2 columns are Goodreads. I've made marks here just as examples. I am going to come back and erase these, but effectively I will just X them off when I have actually made the update. If I want to put a review or update something on Goodreads, and then I'll X it off when it's done. If I've decided I'm not going to make any comment there, for example, this one's a reread, so I actually don't plan to put another comment in on Goodreads. I don't track my total reading there. It's not important to me to have all of my reading for the year there. Then, for example, I won't necessarily update this. And if I've decided I'm not going to update it, I'll just put that slash, and then I know I don't have to think about it anymore. I'm not going to do it. It's decided and done. And then when I've made the update in the book journal, so if I decide I want to do a review or whatnot, then same thing. I'll make an X when I've completed it, and then I know that I'm good. And if I still want to do one, it would be like this. I want to do a review in here, but I haven't done it yet. So that's how those work. The last thing, I want to come back to this column. As I mentioned before, these are ones that I'm physically reading, and these are ones that I'm listening to. So I will usually put a B or an E if it's an ebook, but I will put a B and then I will have an A. So for me, I will always have at least one of each of these, and that just means that's the next audiobook or physical book that I plan to read. Now, nothing is set in stone here. This is fun. This is not serious. So, but that's just the next one. It makes it really easy for me when I'm ready to grab the next thing. If, let's say, I finish my audiobook that I'm listening to now, it's really quick for me to come in. I don't have to make decisions to say which one do I want to listen to. And then during the, let's say, 3-4 days that I'm listening to that one, at some point I'll make a decision as to what I'm going to listen to next. So what happens is, let's say I start this audiobook, I just put a little circle around it, and I will put the beginning date here so I know I started it, let's say on the 1st, and then I might make a decision that says, okay, and then this one will be the next one that I'm going to listen to. So that's how I track it. Again, I use a friction pen for good reason, because I may decide, I don't want to do that one next. I'm going to do this one. I want something lighter. I'm going to do that. So, that's why I do the friction pen. So it's very easy to change my mind, but that's how I do it. And then once I've completed it, I will put a sticker over it to indicate that it's completely done. So that are these stickers here, and I have them by particular reading method. This particular sticker set actually conveniently had some dot stickers included in it. Normally I actually use these. I have several pages of various colors of these, and I've been using those, but hey, this one came with it, so I'm going to use those. So I'll put those particular stickers over it when I have completed those books, so I'll have that visual. I will also make note on here sometimes if I've DNF'd. So because I am liberal in my DNFing, I can also make quick little notes on here if I've DNF'd. Like I'll use this as an example. I'll cross out, in this particular case, I'll cross out that letter that says I'm not doing this, I'm not finishing it. I will actually, I don't know if you can see it, but I make a note here that I started it on the 10th and then I decided not to finish it. And then in this particular case, I indicated that it was, I just put not audio next to it. And what that means is I tried it on audiobook, and while I didn't have a particular issue with the book or the writing or the story itself, the narration or the production quality wasn't there for me. It's not the case in that book, but there have been a few that I picked up too that they're clearly AI narration, and I just won't support that. So that I would also note as not audio. So then I'm not DNFing it forever. I'm just saying that I want to put that on the gonna read it physically when I come back to it. So I will make notes like that on here as well that I can take have record of for my information. So anyway, super nerdy. I hope I'm sure some of you out there are like, oh, I love it. And some of you are like, whoa, that's too much. But nonetheless, like I said, this is the heart and soul of it and helps me keep track of where I'm at, and honestly makes everything else more enjoyable because I can put this down for periods of time and still come back and know exactly where I'm at in the updating process. And for me, that makes the whole process much more enjoyable. Thanks for listening. Okay, one more time. Let's do a final flip through. I am not sure what I'm going to put on this page. I'm thinking maybe something about a rating scale, but for now we're just going to leave it as a space of possibility. Here, of course, is my year in pixels. The setup of this was in my first setup video. If you'd like to see that, I'll have it linked at the end. This is my physically read 52 books in a year, so trying to shift some of my audio into physically reading. Also, the setup is in my first video. This is my local book club. We're reading Pride and Prejudice for January, and then I'm keeping this reserved for, I'm looking to join another book club or other books that are part of book clubs that I don't join regularly. I may put something here also. Most of these, the setups, if you haven't seen it in this video, the setup is in the first video, which I'll link at the end, so I don't have to say that over and over again. And this is just the tracker for a series and backlist. I'll continue to add things as I read the first book and enjoy them. This is the big challenge that I'm doing for the year. It's called Welcome to the Coop. A lot more information about it in the first video. This could be as many as 104 books that I'll be reading this year if I do this full challenge, the full out version. Just books that I own that I'd like to get to. I have way more than this that I haven't gotten to, but ones that I keep saying I really want to read that soon. So they've gone on this list, and then I've left some other spaces for other inspiration or other books that I purchased this year that I really want to make sure I read it in 2026. This is an online book group on Facebook called Literally Bookish. I have 3 challenges. These 2 that are the annual challenges that I'm doing. This one actually is really fun. There's a postcard challenge, so each month the moderator will put out a postcard. I have January's here, and then you read a book that is somehow inspired by that postcard. And then this is the Romanceopoly challenge. I am doing the level of valedictorian, so that's all of the prompts that are here. There actually are more prompts for anyone who wants to do more than that, but each one of these is a prompt and a book that I'll be reading. And then these are just pages that I can put, I only set up the first page, but where I can put the book cover for every book that I finish. I have space for more than 200 books here, so those will be completed as I go. You saw this setup today. And then of course you saw January. I didn't speak too much to this particular one. This is a monthly challenge, also part of that Literally Bookish Facebook group. So it's a bingo board. Most months she will put out a bingo board to do. What I did is I made it easy on myself, so I just printed off the actual board as it was provided in the group to make it easy. And then I put this piece of vellum over the top so I can stick my covers to the vellum but can still quickly reference what the prompt was. So we'll see how that works out. They might get heavy for that, but we'll see. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. If you enjoyed this at all, I would love a like and a subscribe. I really appreciate your support of the channel, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful 2026.